Welcome back to Old School Sports and episode 11 of our adventure with the wild world of wrestling promotion in Pro Wrestling Sim. Appreciate everyone who's been watching us in the early stages of this adventure. We've definitely made progress with our local promotion. Appreciate the feedback from viewers. Jack Riley Gillick is definitely distinguished himself as the most loyal and consistent observer and advice giver of our viewers so far. So certainly appreciate his thoughts and everyone else's thoughts on what we're doing. We'll talk about a couple of things as we get started here. One of the questions and points that Jack Riley Gillick raised in response to our last episode was what the reason was we weren't doing 4 shows a month rather than 3. And I think it's a good question. If you look closely here, you can see we've added in a new show in July to do 4 shows in July. Given that our goal with our now regional promotion is to continue increasing popularity up towards 40 and then hopefully past 40 and eventually get to the point where we can sign talent to exclusive written contracts and also end up signing a TV deal or 2 down the line. Might as well do everything possible to accelerate that process. Certainly with 4 shows a month rather than 1 or 2 or 3, there's more risk of some of our wrestlers getting injured. So we'll have to be thoughtful about how we do that, because now that we've right-sized the promotion to where the backstage morale is excellent, don't want to put ourselves in a situation where we end up injuring our wrestlers by having them fight too often. But I think that we're going to probably try to target 4 shows kind of every other month, 3 shows the other months. So definitely increasing the average number of shows. Think that was a good question and good advice from Jack Riley Gillick to continue trying to move things forward. If we think about what's happened over the month since the last episode, did 3 events in the month of June. 3W Virginia was at the start of the month in our last episode. Did our big 3W live event in June. Alani Hernandez and Ricky Babylon both retained their women's and men's championships respectively. Ran a smaller show in Vermont a while back. Men's Tag Team Championship, the Head Knockers won their title, or defended their title, defeating previous Tag Team Champions, the M&M Boys. Continue to also make some progress with the storylines that we have been working on. Had a little bit of rest for the weary over the last couple of weeks, but as noted, we've got a busy schedule coming up here in July. The 4th of July blast, just a couple days away. We'll also have our big 3W live event only 4 days after that, so a busy next week for the wild world of wrestling promotion. Then a couple of smaller shows out on Cape Cod and then back down in New York City before the end of the month. Only going to do 3 shows in August, our big 3W live show in August. Show in Saratoga Springs, New York, the August place to be, now the summer place to be, and then a Philadelphia show. Back to the month of September, though, we're going to have 4 shows there. The Labor Day Bash, followed by the big live show in September. Similar schedule for those, very close to one another in the calendar as in July. Added in a new show in Pittsburgh as we continue to try to expand our geographic reach, as we're a more regional promotion now, and then a smaller show in Rochester at the end of the month. So hope to continue the momentum going. Taking a look at our finances with another month in the books, we made about $22,000 in the month of June. So continue to make good progress. I think adding in a fourth show is going to allow us to hopefully be making 30, 40, maybe even $50,000 in some months, which with the growing balance we have on our balance sheet should put us in a situation that before the end of the year we can add a small full-time team, allow us to get past that 40 popularity. Again, not a pressing issue yet, since right now we're standing at 31.4, but with those additional shows should be something that we want to get lined up in the medium term, and also feel that making that move to our production values with a small full-time team will improve merchandise sales, so should help pay for some of that team with more Ricky Babylon t-shirts and other promotional materials from our 3W promotion. And if you were wondering at this point, Ricky Babylon, despite the progress we've made with other wrestlers, is the only source of merchandise. Very popular wrestler. Definitely think that it was fortuitous that we picked this 3W promotion at the local level to start with, because having Ricky Babylon available to wrestle for us with his incredible skill set, a great entertainer, incredible stamina, very good wrestling skills, great star power, one of the most popular wrestlers in North America right now. Certainly not somebody that we would be able to afford otherwise, given the financial profile of the 3W promotion, but given that as we know, Ricky Babylon is the owner of the 3W promotion. That is definitely a benefit to us that has helped us with our financial wherewithal and trying to grow this promotion over the last almost 2.5 years, or exactly 2.5 years at this point, since it is July 1st and we're now into the second half of 2023. Mentioned that we've got the 4th of July Blast coming up in just 3 days. We're going to have 3 titles on the line: Women's Tag Team Championship, Men's Tag Team Championship, and then the Men's Championship. Continue to get pretty good momentum with all of the storylines that we're working on. Going to continue through introductions and entrances and interviews, and then a video at the end of trying to build some momentum for those various storylines that we have going. The backstage atmosphere remains great. You can see we're expecting over 2,000 fans at the 4th of July show in Connecticut, so hopefully we can continue to generate some pretty good money, and would love it if over the next year or so we have to start thinking about being able to sell out these 2,500 capacity venues that we've become comfortable with using in recent months. And we're ready now, sim ahead 3 days for the 4th of July Blast event. Have a number of tag team matches. You can see almost everybody in the promotion is involved in this event. We're going to try to be more diligent about ensuring that everyone's wrestling at least on a monthly basis, if not more, especially with 3 and possibly 4 shows a month. So we're taking a good look at who's not in this show, and we'll ensure that they get some action in the next show or the one after that to try to keep the wrestlers as happy as possible, and backstage morale, which we've focused on a lot over the last 9 months or so, at a very high level. Getting the show going, the introductions and the entrances of the 2 tag teams that will be competing for the Women's Tag Team Championship in an hour or so. The American Girls and Pain Train, very well received by the audience. First match of the day, the Bash Brothers versus the M&M Boys. The M&M Boys, the former tag team championships, get the victory over Kyle Howard and Rodrigo Schmidt. Next event, another tag team matchup, Mayhem versus the Good Guys. Unfortunately, the match fell apart a little bit as time went on. Keith Yates and Judah Horn, the Good Guys, get the victory. 15-minute match coming up between Julius Dyer and Malcolm McKnight. They both have pretty good entertainment scores, so although they do have a storyline going with them, we've got things set up to try to have them steal the show with some comedy, and we'll see how that goes over with the viewers. The comedy did go over well in the match. Julius Dyer gets the victory over Malcolm McKnight. You can see a final score of 55%, so that certainly helped. Getting in now to the first of the championship matches of the evening. Pretty good match quality between the American girls and Pain Train. Alani Hernandez and Gia Valdez successfully retain their title. They both get a little boost coming out of the match, so a nice, strong result there. Another tag team match up next, C Squared versus the Head Knockers. The Head Knockers, Kason Hughes and Jordan Cunningham, successfully retained their championship. Kind of anticipated that would be the case, but one of the members of the C Squared had asked us for a title opportunity, so hoping that that will satisfy them, and that'll be a promise that was kept by us as the booker for the promotion. Introductions before the championship match between Garrett Carter and Ricky Babylon. Nice score there, given that Garrett Carter at $1,500 per show is by far the most expensive talent we have, since fortunately, as I noted, we don't have to pay for Ricky Babylon since he owns the promotion. Try to get as much bang for the buck when he's involved, and certainly a good start with the entrances. We'll see how the actual bout goes, and then there will be an interview afterwards with Garrett Carter. Ricky Babylon retains his title. Pretty good match quality, pretty high match score, so good to have another strong result there. Interview following the match of Garrett Carter and his manager Kristen Schwartz by Cullen Richardson on a number of topics, including his allies Elias David and Kyle Howard, as well as their pursuit of Ricky Babylon, went over reasonably well. Last but not least, we've got a promotional video at the end of the show. 92% reaction to that, certainly trying to get some momentum behind all of the different storylines that we are using. So seems like a pretty good result for the show, capped out at 50%, but could have gotten up to 65%. So the 4th of July blast for 2023 ends up a successful event here for the Wild World of Wrestling. Taking a look at our mail, mentioned that we had promised a title bout to Colby Hendricks. We had also, Ricky Babylon wanted to be in a featured main event match. He pretty much does that anytime he wrestles, so I'd say that's a little nit with the game to have someone asking for that when they are the owner of the promotion, the world champion of the promotion, and also regularly fighting in the main event, to have to ask for another one, but very easy promise for us to keep nonetheless. Ticket sales of 2,209, over $55,000 in proceeds. That 2,209 ticket sales is the highest that we've ever achieved, so good to get the month of July and the second half of the year off to a very good start. One thing that I have noticed, and would love some thoughts from others who perhaps are more experienced with the game than I am. When I think about our title holders, Ricky Babylon has been the men's champion for 844 days. Alani Hernandez, 852 days for the women's champion. And then Pain Train, Alani Hernandez and Gia Valdez, over 900 days. For the most part, we don't script the results. I'm just wondering if when we go for automatic results in a championship bout, does it always just keep the belt with the champions by default? Because it seems as good as Alani Hernandez and Gia Valdez are, they've combined for 58 defenses between the women's regular championship and the tag team championship. I can't honestly see them when I look at their skills compared to some of the people that they've been wrestling against, that they would have won 58 matches in a row between the two of them. So I'm just wondering if you have to script a title change, or can it actually happen organically? I've scripted victories for Ricky Babylon a number of times, but he's also fought people straight up on many occasions, including this last bout with Garrett Carter. That makes a little more sense since Babylon is just so talented compared to everybody else in the promotion. But even with the men's tag team championship, where we have had a number of different title holders, no one's actually lost the match. We've just had the title vacated due to injuries or due to breakups of relationships and tag team partners. But we've never actually had a defending champion lose a match in an unscripted fashion. So just wondering, those of you who may have played the game more, if I actually want some of these championships to start turning over and having a little more volatility among them. Is it something that I actively need to script, or have I just been on an incredible run with the current champions and getting a lot of consecutive coin flips that just keep coming up heads for the teams that remain the title holders? And we've seemed to had another couple of months almost since the last time we checked in at the beginning of July. Things continue to go pretty well. A couple things that we want to highlight. Definitely been some news and developments in the promotion, and we actually have a new wrestler on board that we will talk about shortly. Going to our event histories starting back in July, after our 4th of July blast, when we finished the episode, had our 3W Live in July event, which was a good event. Unfortunately, after that, I had a smaller event in Cape Cod, and we didn't even top out with a 50% score, so that was not ideal. The big news that happened relatively early in July was when we think about our roster. Garrett Carter has now raised his booking fee to $2,000 per appearance, up from $1,500, and he was, I believe, maybe $400 or $500 just a couple of years ago. So he is getting increasingly expensive for us to bring on board. And when we think about the overall promotion and his popularity, he has become easily the second most popular wrestler associated with our promotion, obviously far behind Ricky Babylon. But we've been making some progress with Elias David since he joined us. Malcolm McNeil and Keith Yates continue to move up, along with Malcolm McKnight. The manager, Samara Lester, also pretty solid. So we've got some other people that we can potentially continue to develop further in terms of storylines who are a lot less expensive than Mr. Carter. The other thing that we did do is thinking that we may need another prominent heel in the mix. We did sign a contract with Gunnar Paul. Only $60 per appearance at this point. He's only a mid-card wrestler for us at this point. But pretty solid wrestling skill, very good entertainer, some good star power as well. Unfortunately, you can see there's growing tensions between Ricky Babylon and Gunnar Paul, which is not ideal given that Ricky Babylon is the owner of our promotion. So not sure about his long-term run with us, but certainly a relatively inexpensive wrestler who was available after leaving APW back in March, and was looking for someone to give him an opportunity, and we have given him that so far. 2-0 for us this year in a couple of bouts since we brought him on board. Finished up the month of July after that disappointing performance with the Cape Cod show with a show in New York City. And then we turned our attention to the month of August. And here's where some interesting things started to happen. Our 3W Live event, the primary event for the month of August, happened back on Sunday the 6th. 2,300 tickets sold, so by far, well, not necessarily by far, but the most tickets that we've ever sold to an event. And we did actually decide here that coming out of this event, we wanted to make some changes as far as the men's tag team title. And we scripted a victory for the Good Guys versus the Head Knockers, who Head Knockers had been our champions for several months. They had defended the title several times. But we decided to start a new storyline with the Good Guys and the Head Knockers having a lot of hostilities between one another and expecting them to perhaps be trading the tag team title back and forth, potentially on multiple occasions in the coming months. So after the 3W Live event in August, event in Saratoga, where Ricky Babylon defended his title against Elias David, continued to do a lot of work on trying to build some of the storylines up. Next event was a smaller event in Philadelphia. The tag team title did switch back to the Head Knockers, who took the men's tag team title back from the Good Guys. And then that was it for us. Shorter calendar for us in the month of August, but we will be having 4 events here in the month of September. The other thing that has started to happen, and you can see here, is that a lot of people have continued increasing their booking fees. Malcolm McKnight goes up to $250. Isabella Baxter more than doubles her booking fee to $110. Jordan Cunningham, part of the Head Knockers, that tag team championship team right now, up to $220. And then the very popular manager, Samara Lester, now over $300 an appearance for us. So expenses continue to go up, not just Garrett Carter, who's looking for more. But when we think about the finances over these last couple of months, very big month for us in the month of July, made over $57,000 with 4 shows. Only 3 shows for us in the month of August, but still made over $35,000. So 2 of the most successful months we've had financially as we head into September, where we are going to be having 4 events. The first 2 pretty significant events, the Labor Day Bash and 3W Live in September. We will talk through both of those cards shortly, because what we did was we set things up so that each of those 2 shows will have 2 championship belts to be potentially defended, or if not defended, won by somebody new. And between those 2 shows, all 28 of the wrestlers associated with our promotion are going to get an opportunity to show off their skills and continue getting some activity. Backstage morale has dipped a bit to 94 since the last time we talked. I think that perhaps some of the tension between the new addition Gunnar Paul and the promotion owner Ricky Babylon isn't helping. Hopefully we'll be able to keep things at a pretty strong point, because we've definitely been able to take advantage of the really good morale over the last 6 or 7 months at this point to put together a lot of really good scores with some of our storylines. 68% heat on The New Kid in Town, 68% heat on We Want Your Title, 86% heat on Everyone Chasing Ricky Babylon for the men's tag team title, and then the new tag team turmoil storyline that I mentioned, 71 heat in the relatively early going of those storylines. And as I noted, I have two pretty big shows over the next 5 days, starting today with the Labor Day Bash. I'm going to do some work on the angles with some entrances, and then also some videos touching on all of the different active storylines that we have with pretty good production values. So hopefully we'll get some momentum out of there. The overall backstage atmosphere is great. You can see we're set to have around 2,200 people at the Labor Day Bash. The two title matches that I hinted at in this event are going to be the Women's Tag Team Championship with the American Girls going up against Pain Train. There's also a storyline associated with them, as we talked about. And then the Men's Championship, Ricky Babylon will win by submission over Garrett Carter. Starting to, given that we're going to be using Garrett Carter less and less, given his rapidly increasing costs and the fact that he could at some point potentially try to leave us for a written contract with somebody else, not necessarily going to focus so much on ensuring that we actively increase his popularity, and popularity losses associated with a submission are a little higher, and the winner, in this case Ricky Babylon, gets a little bit of a benefit with a submission loss. Moving on to the show, good reaction to the introductions of the wrestlers who will be competing for the Women's Tag Team Championship. Not that exciting of a match between Kirsten Holloway and Marissa Wynn, a couple of mid-card wrestlers that we don't use all that often, but as I noted, the goal was to ensure that at these two big events, everybody got to perform at least once. Hopefully that will help keep backstage morale at a decent point, and clearly there will be multiple wrestlers who are competing at both events. Moving on to the next segment, Xander Berry against Judah Horn. Judah Horn with the victory. Keith Yates and Corey McKee, 53% score, so the highest score of any of the matches thus far. Not that it's been a great day for us at this point. Moving on to the Women's Tag Team Championship, Alani Hernandez and Gia Valdez, Pain Train, retain their title. Very good match quality. Hernandez and Gia Valdez have incredible chemistry as a team. They've been wrestling together for a long time. Really good agenting from Nolan Bryant, so a nice score for that one. Tag team match now, the M&M Boys versus the Bash Brothers. Marvin McNeil and Josue Melton, the M&M Boys, with the victory. Couple of newer wrestlers to the promotion facing off next, Julius Dyer and Gunnar Paul, and we're going for some entertainment and some laughs in this match. We'll see if they're able to execute on it. Looks like the comedy did go over well. Only a 2-star match quality. Dyer's performance was worse than usual, although he did get the victory, and a final score of 56%. Last but not least, the title match between Carter and Babylon. 76% score there, although the match quality was just okay. Expecting that the promotional video we're showing at the end of the show to hype people up about the event in a few days will get a good reaction. 100% reaction, so a boost to everyone involved. And as I noted, we're intentionally picking the people for these videos to touch all of the different storylines that we have going to hopefully give the different storylines a decent bump. So 50% score for the show, could have been as high as 63 once we increase our production values. We'll see what the attendance looks like. 2,236 tickets, so not quite our peak, but still pretty strong. Hopefully the 3W Live event in a few days, we might get our biggest ticket sales ever. Emma Banks looking for a push by December. She's only a mid-card person for us right now. We'll go ahead and accept that promise. Don't know, how big a part of our future she is, but we can move her up to the upper mid-card at some point. And she did just compete for the Women's Tag Team Championship the day before, and we do have a storyline going with her, so not completely unrealistic that we might be looking to continue to try to move her career forward, which is obviously what she wants to. And 3W Live in Connecticut, also a big show for us. You can see we're expecting similar-ish attendance. Alani Hernandez will be defending her women's championship against Anastasia Romero. And then the Head Knockers and the Good Guys in that tag team turmoil storyline that we have ongoing will be facing off for the championship. As we talked about, the Good Guys took the title a month and a half ago or so. Head Knockers have already taken it back. This winner is going to be determined just by the merits of the match, but certainly may have some scripted back and forth with that title in the coming months as we try to keep an interesting storyline going there. Moving on to the event, introductions with Romero and Hernandez go over well. Pretty decent introductory match between C Squared and Thunder Lightning, although Colby Tyler's performance was worse than usual. Still got a 52% match score. This next one may be a bit of a dud. A couple of the mid-card wrestlers who aren't all that prominent facing off against one another. Only 2.5-star match quality. They do both have some entertainment skills, so this was a match where we did try to have them entertaining the fans with a little bit of comedy, and that went over well. But even with that advantage, still just a 46% overall score. Gunnar Paul, one of the wrestlers who's wrestling both 4 days ago and now today, gets a win over Josue Melton after he lost to Julius Dyer a couple days ago. Women's championship match, Alani Hernandez does retain her title. Julius Dyer continues his strong wrestling, defeating Kyle Howard. Pretty solid score for the match there. Elias David, who didn't wrestle 4 days ago, going up against Keith Yates. Elias David gets the victory, even though his performance was not perfect. These two do have really good chemistry as opponents, which we'll keep in mind going forward. Last but not least, the Men's Tag Team Championship and the Head Knockers, Kason Hughes and Jordan Cunningham, defend their title against the Good Guys. Pretty solid match quality. Moving on to the promotions, another 100% score there, which is good. So peak score for this event only could have been 56, but obviously we're still maxed out at 50, so no harm, no foul, even though it was not quite as successful as a show of last time around. Figured that as a somewhat older wrestler for our promotion, didn't want Ricky Babylon wrestling so frequently, so we put him on the first show of the month. Let him take off the second show, even though it was a big one. Probably will be using him in Pittsburgh and Rochester in the coming weeks as we finish up a 4-show month here in September. Colby Hendricks doubling his booking fee, and 2029 tickets, so sales a little bit lower for this event than might have been ideal, but still a profitable foray for the wild world of wrestling. And we've completed our third show of the month in Pittsburgh. We did go for a large sports hall, even though it was a smaller show, only 1,351 in attendance. So I think that's just a little bit below the amount that it would have taken for it to make sense for us to go for the larger hall, but it is what it is at this point. The big matches, Pain Train retains their Women's Tag Team Championship. Ricky Babylon retains his men's championship against Elias David. Continue to do some similar work to the storylines that we had done previously. Unfortunately, we did have injury. Joaquin Sullivan in his tag team match banged up with a neck injury that's going to keep him out for about 3 months. So not ideal there, but he's also not one of our most prominent wrestlers, so not the end of the world either. And as we get ready for our last event of the month in Rochester and nearing the end of this episode, we are going to end one of our storylines. You'll remember Joaquin Sullivan just got hurt in a match. 68% heat on the new kid in town, but Julius Dyer has been with us a while now. With Joaquin Sullivan now hurt, we're going to go ahead and end that storyline. We'll give some thought to starting up another one probably sometime in the month of February or the month of October. But for the time being, just going to run with these 3 existing lines as we try to get one more month of hopefully solid profitability in the books. Continue trying to improve popularity up towards that 40 threshold when it might be time for us to increase our back office budget. Although honestly, right now with the profitability we've had over the last few months, might be something we look to do sooner rather than later, since that will help us with merchandise sales going forward. So may take a look at what the financials look like for this month of September. At this point, we're expecting them to be pretty good, barring something unforeseen. And as we get ready for the final matches of the month of September, you can see we have rented also a large local sports hall out in Rochester, New York, hoping for attendance of close to 1,500, which will justify going for the additional capacity there with the additional costs involved if we're able to get close to that. Backstage atmosphere remains great. Both of the men's titles going to be up for grabs today. You can see Ricky Babylon will be facing off against Kyle Howard. The Head Knockers and the Good Guys, we've got that tag team turmoil storyline going with them, and they're going to be participating in a cage match. Go ahead and get the show started. Introductions of Gia Valdez and Emma Banks. Unfortunately, the match between the two of them was a dud, so not a great score there to get the event going. Mayhem versus Class Act. Not great there either. Class Act, Julius Dyer and Valentino Ballard get the victory, but match quality certainly was nothing special. Hopefully we'll start getting a little more momentum over these next 3 matches. Ooh, looks like an injury to Gunnar Paul. Severity of the injury unknown. Continue the match, cut to the finish, or stop the match. Given that this was just kind of a throw-in match, Gunnar Paul, as we talked about, is a relatively new addition, a relatively inexpensive addition, but someone who we think has potential to play a more prominent role. We are going to cut to the finish. We don't want to... we're just going to stop the match right here. 8 minutes in, the crowd will be deflated. We already know the crowd reaction is 35%, so maybe it'll go down a little bit. We'll find out. But we want to try to minimize the injury to Gunnar Paul as much as possible. Definitely deflating finish there. Ends up being a draw between Paul and Hendricks. So you can see we lost 13 points in terms of the crowd reaction by trying to save Gunnar Paul from getting injured more significantly. Hurt the match quality, killed the crowd, and the fans didn't like that there was a definitive winner. 35% final score for a match is as bad as it gets for us, and you can see we've had 3 matches below that 50% threshold thus far, so really need these 2 championship matches to be higher quality to even just get to a 50% score overall. We'll see if we can get some momentum here with the men's tag team championship, and we do get a pretty good result there. The Head Knockers retain their title in the cage match against the Good Guys. 73% match quality. Judah Horn helps people learn. Yates and Horn have incredible chemistry. Obviously, the Head Knockers have been fighting together for quite some time too, so seems like we've got a little bit of momentum going behind that storyline. Ricky Babylon defending his title against Kyle Howard. He gets the victory. Kyle Howard really helped sell the match quality, put in a big effort, rare opportunity for him to compete for the title. 2.5-star match quality and a 72% score. So these two strong final matches hopefully will help offset some of the weakness with the undercard. Last but not least, the promotional video. Only 92%. We've getting used to getting 100% scores. We did make this one a little bit longer than some of the others. We'll have to see what the backstage mood looks like following another injury, but did get to a 50% show rating when all was said and done. Gia Valdez, we still haven't responded to her looking for a longer match. We'll go ahead and we'll give her a longer match since she is the women's tag team title holder. Try to push for a 15-minute match there. Gunnar Paul with the injury. And definitely significant. He is out until next year. So he's going to miss over 3 months with a bicep injury. So two of our heels now on the injured list for the next couple of months, which will limit our flexibility a bit. You can see we do have 4 shows planned for the month of October, so have to be a little more thoughtful about how we put the cards together down to just 13 faces and 13 heels. And attendance did end up being close to 1,500, so that definitely justified the larger venue, even if we didn't get as big a score or as big attendance as we did for the 2 more prominent events at the beginning of the month. And we've made it to the end of the month of September and closing in on the end of this episode. We'll finish up 2023 next time around, but a pretty strong month. Made almost $50,000 through the 4 events that we held. Current money over $500,000, so we're up more than 10 times from what we started with about 33 months ago, I guess. Unfortunately, we may need to start spending some of these profits that we're making. As I noted, didn't get a 100% score on that last promotional video that we did, and the backstage atmosphere is fine with a 76 rating, but certainly not as ideal as it has been before. I can see there are a fair amount of people who have some relationships in the Gunnar Paul and Ricky Babylon relationship, in particular from someone that we just brought on board, is particularly weak. I think we will make some moves to hopefully help improve morale a bit. We are going to start subsidizing travel expenses a bit more, another $400 per month per worker. So that's going to not be insignificant for us. We look at our finances right now and about $8,100 a month in travel. Actually, I think the way that number works, you can see $8,100 a month here in the month of September 2023. It claims that it's $100 per worker per month, but I believe the way it's charged in the game is actually $100 per worker per show. So it does get expensive because obviously we don't have 81 workers, so that $8,100 expense doesn't make sense. We could also look to help with the medical expenses a bit more. That would be incrementally more money, $700 per worker per month. But when we look at the medical expenses that we're dealing with, 10,500. The math there is something that actually gets charged on a monthly basis, but certainly we'd be increasing our expenses pretty significantly. All of a sudden that's more of a $32,000 a month line item for us instead of a $10,500 a month line item. But given that it does seem like, despite the nomenclature here, the travel expenses are actually on a per show basis rather than a monthly basis, we're gonna go up significantly either way. The incremental move with the medical expenses is $700 a month times 30 some odd total workers. The incremental for the travel expenses is going to be an extra $400 per show for every worker that we use. So although it seems like this is more expensive, I think it's actually a little less expensive. We're going to go ahead and really start giving these guys some better benefits. You can see that got morale up to 81. And we're also going to bring a small full-time team on board. Ultimately, we're going to need to do that to get our popularity past 40. We do have plenty of time to do it, but what we have seen financially is we're making pretty good progress in terms of merchandise sales, up to 20 some odd $1,000 a month. And it'll get us past 40 popularity, and each level can potentially improve merchandise sales significantly. So hopefully we can offset some of that. But between increasing the full-time team, or adding a small full-time team rather than a small part-time team, that's going to add about $19,000 a month to our expenses. And now when we think about medical, we're going to be adding probably about $21,000 to our expenses there. So we've just added about $40,000 a month into our expense lines. Looking at these last few months, made 57, made 35, made 48. We certainly should be able to remain profitable, particularly in the months where we have 4 shows, but our margin is going to be a little bit less unless we really see some pretty significant progress with the merchandise, which is possible. So hopefully we can move backstage morale back in a more positive direction. Hopefully we can improve some of the relationships that we've got going on. You can see we did have some people trying to improve their relationships. Got some progress with Jordan Cunningham and Rodrigo Schmidt, but Gunnar Paul instigating a fight with Ricky Babylon, that's certainly not going to help things backstage. Had hopes for Gunnar Paul, but he's injured and he's causing conflicts at this point. So although he's inexpensive, and although I wouldn't mind having some other heels who are much more cost effective than Garrett Carter, we're actually just going to go and release him from his agreement with us. And that had a pretty significant effect on backstage morale, added 13 points. So when you've got someone who's picking fights with your top wrestler, who also happens to actually be the owner of the promotion, probably makes sense to try to move on from them. And Gunnar Paul just wasn't really working out. So between the departure of Gunnar Paul and giving a lot better benefits in terms of healthcare to the wrestlers. We're back to a pretty good spot here in terms of morale, which hopefully will help pay off for us over these next 3 months of 2023. And we'll find out how we do and whether we're able to continue making some money despite our more significant expenses next time around. Until then, thanks so much for watching, and hope you have a great day.